morning, good afternoon, good evening. The ED 2030 agenda is taking shape. Did warn that the ED 2030 is a decoy to take attention away from the perennial problem of the failure to hold free, fair, and credible elections. The bill that is being proposed by ZANU-PF is in itself an acknowledgement that the problem of free, fair, and credible elections is real, and the party is now trying to avoid that by proposing to extend the life of Parliament and the presidency by another 2 years. The fight to ensure that ZANU-PF does not rig the elections and get away with it is therefore being moved to another level. It is a fight to stop ZANU-PF postponing the 2028 elections. Let's be very clear here. The people of Zimbabwe elected the parliament and the president in the 2023 elections on the clear understanding that they were being elected to serve a maximum term of 5 years. At that time, there was never any talk by Mnangagwa or ZANU-PF or the opposition or anyone else that the term would be extended by another 2 years. It is therefore absurd that the elected individuals, once in office, should then decide that they're going to extend their term of office. It is absurd. The people, you got your power to rule from the people. And it was for a fixed term, maximum 5 years. And you can't sit among yourself and decide on your own accord that, oh, we are going to extend it for another 2 years. And what must be emphasized here is that they're seeking to extend their stay in office for selfish reasons. None of those reasons they are giving make any sense. These will save the interests of the elected, not of the people who elected them. The Minister of Justice, Ziyambi Ziyambi, is apparently today, Tuesday the 10th of February, going to submit to the cabinet the proposed amendments to the Constitution to allow this to happen. And one of the arguments that is being presented is that It is important to extend both the parliamentary and presidential term by another 2 years to avoid the toxic election mode that has been gripping the country. Giving the regime another 2 years will promote stability and policy continuity. This is just nonsense. Yes, no one can deny that there's been this election mode, but who has been responsible for it? It has not been the people. It has been the elected officials themselves. Mnangagwa himself was the one behind this ED 2030. And what is more, the whole ED 2030 started soon after the elections. Soon after the 2023 elections. He was already garnering that he should be allowed to stay in power for another additional 2 years. He had not served, but he'd only served maybe a few months, and already he's talking of extending his rule. There is no problem with the present system. If the people are happy with your performance, at the end of the 5 years, the people will vote you back into office. There's not been any problem. Mnangagwa's problem arose because at the end of 2028, you would have served the stipulated maximum 2-term limit. He wants to extend that. That is what all this is all about. That is what this whole machination, political machination, is all about. The people themselves decided, no, we want a president who will serve a maximum of 2 terms. That was what was agreed in the 2013 Constitution. So this is just a way of trying to get around it, to round that 2-year limit, 2-term limit. When he was going in 2023, he did not mention extending by 2 years. He did not mention that he would be undermining the Constitution to extend his rule. He was garnering for the 2nd term. The minute he got it, he wants to extend that. And the only way he could extend it this time is by extending the term limit from 5 years to 7 years. What is more interesting here is that ZANU-PF, Parliament and President are now proposing to do this and not even have the courtesy of referring to the people, to the electorate, the people who voted for them. This is definitely unacceptable. We should remember also that Mnangagwa and his ZANU-PF have never won free, fair, and credible elections. The country has never held free, fair, and credible elections. They have been shortchanging the people for 46 years and counting. What they're now proposing is just another way of shortchanging the people. I've said it before. The problem we had the last 26 years at least is that we had a corrupt, incompetent, and utterly useless opposition. Because we cannot deny that we did have the opportunity to implement the democratic reforms and come up with a democratic constitution in 2023, in 2013. We did. The opposition let us down. That is the truth. Chamisa and company conned the people to participate in 2023 elections as he did in 2018 elections on the basis of a lie. He knew that he had not plugged any vote rigging loopholes. He knew that Mnangagwa was rigging those elections. And he conned people to participate anyway, giving Mnangagwa legitimacy. SADC and the AU their election monitoring teams condemned the 2023 elections as flawed and illegal. Mnangagwa is illegitimate. And so now we are facing the reality that the illegitimate president is deciding to extend his stay in office beyond even the 2028. I think this is the fight we have got to make very clear to Mnangagwa that we are going to fight. The 2028 elections must not be postponed. Parliament and the president cannot extend their stay in office because they were elected for a maximum of 5 years. At the time, there was never any talk of extending it by another 2 years. And certainly, if that's going to be extended, the people themselves must have a say in that. Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF must not be allowed to extend their stay in office beyond 2028. The 2028 elections must go ahead. The proposed amendments to change the constitution by a regime that is illegitimate cannot be binding. Here is Mnangagwa's reaction to SADC and the AU condemning the 2023 elections as flawed and illegal.
Vana vakatuka ZANU-PF kana ini ndonyanyisa kufara kuita zvakanaka. Ukavona vavengi vako vachikurumbidza unenge uchikanganisa. Ukavona vachiti ZANU-PF yakaipa, farai. You are doing correct things for your country. Hongu takaita maelections edu kuna vamwe vaitaura zvisina musoro zvikanzi maelection anofamba zvakanaka ndezvavo.
Make it very clear. The fact that 2023 elections were not free, fair, and credible is our concern. And this is being underlined now when you look at a regime that rigged the elections, blatantly rigged the elections, now seeking to extend their own stay in office with no reference to the people who elected them. There are some red lines that cannot be crossed. Mnangagwa is trying to cross the double red lines here. The 2028 elections must go ahead as scheduled. That is not negotiable.